clearly Effortless is coming into this with some momentum. As we get a look at the picks and bans for this series, we'll be going through Awoken, Corrupted Keep, and Blood Covenant for our games, or our maps rather, coming up.
This is the veto that we have up on screen, Dan, for an absolute slobber knocker of a game that we have in store. Last time around it was because of the length. I hope this time it's because of the quality of the actual matchup between the both of them. Effortless has had a lot to prove. He's been trying to show that he is certainly a competitor that can compete on this level, whereas for Dooi, I think he's been actually sort of just slowly making his moves into bigger and better strides.
No, like I said, I agree. I definitely think he has. He's slightly erratic sometimes, but he surprises you, and he comes out with big performances when they matter. And at the end of the day, he also knows how to play defensive, which is still an incredibly difficult skill and something very valuable to hold on to. And the matchups we see in terms of the picks with the maps, it's going to be more of a brawl than it is a slower paced game. There's no Molten, there's no Blood Run. We've got Corrupted Keep and Awoken as our first two maps, and so they're both maps that require combat and require him to be active. And similarly for Effortless, we do finish with the Blood Covenant, which is Dooi on the next, which is exactly what we saw before, I believe, where we had that long matchup. But I think he has what it takes to go 2-0 on those first two maps.
I would agree. I think based off the veto there, there's definitely a lot of possibility, and it does seem like we are almost ready to get underway with this one as well. Awoken will be the opener. So Dan, let's start slipping into this one. It should be an absolute banger. I'm glad I'm with you again for another fantastic little game, mate.
I'm sure you are. You need all the analytical help you can get. So let's.
Well, I mean, I would have taken Flea then.
Dan is spicy today.
Come on. I mean, to be fair, also he compliments me because my animal facts and his Yeti facts, it would all work.
I'll take that.
There we go. Ready for the action anyway, as we get down to game. Dooi taking on Effortless on Awoken. Who is going to be the most woke here? Will it be the cowboy or the man who has no effort and wins all the raffles?
I can't believe that. Was it two QuakeCon raffles in a row?
I think it was 2 in a row, yeah.
That's insane.
He's a lucky man.
I will say that in terms of this matchup on paper, from what we've seen and from the way they both play, I feel that Dooi's style can really frustrate Effortless. As we spoke about, Effortless
again! No! What is going on?
There we go. And Dooi's the master. It always seems to be in his matches as well. But Effortless's strength is mechanical skill and combat, and Dooi knows how to avoid that and play around that. And that definitely can get under the skin of Effortless, since the strategy and the mental side of the game is definitely what he struggles with. And that's going to be the biggest test for me to see if Effortless can match up with this. And obviously, being ringed out within the first minute is not exactly what you want to see.
No, not really. I mean, that essentially looked like it was part of the script. You know what I mean? Like this one's all been pre-planned.
It's written in stone.
My goodness, that's certainly one way to start things off. Another game where we come in on the first map and someone gets ring-outed, literally in the opening segment. And now we get into this. No combat since. Dooi, he's taken that one frag and he's going to run with it as far as they'll be allowed to.
Yeah, and he can go a long way on a frag. We do have this big engagement here. Perfect frag from Effortless and the Pika to finish it up. What a play that was.
Okay. Beautiful work on the Pika. Now the game's truly in the swing of things. Both of them duking it out as well. Blow for blow on the initial trades of damage. Effortless with about 80 stack as he rapidly rotates his way back around towards the Mega and wants to try and make a mockery out of Dooi. Dooi just taking little bobs, little peeks now and then to do a fair amount of splash damage to keep Effortless low, but his confidence hasn't taken a hit. He's moving rapidly across the map as he rotates back round towards Heavy. He's already done a ton of damage down.
He has. Throwing up the jump pad. Did cost him a rail though. Close there for Effortless. But Effortless has now got a good lockdown on the items. If he can get in position early enough for the Mega, I would like to see him delay that just a tad to make it safer. But Doi's already in position to at least deal some damage, if not steal it away. Pika will zone Dooi away. But should be able to make his way back up to claim it. And there is a long delay, obviously, because of that engagement as well. 15 seconds. Not too long, but gives enough time for Effortless to play the map.
Three minutes deep. One frag apiece. Not too mass murdering occurring here, but good adjustment at least on the flick. Effortless able to get a little bit more damage out with that railgun. Now on the turn, knows Dooi is somewhat isolated over towards Banana and wants to try and hit him with the potassium punishment. Instead, go straight through the portal, peeks out with the rail. That's a beautiful hit. If you got the follow-up, it would have been disgusting. Instead, Dooi barely gets away.
Dooi doing what he does best, which is avoiding death. Effortless is doing a good job of keeping on top of his stack and dealing damage in and around the map, which gives him a good opportunity to capitalize on that speed of the Strog, and he does that perfectly with the back-to-back rails.
Ooh, okay, straight back into the fight! Up in the air, and he basically just body slams down onto him. Alright, I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. A fantastic frag to pick up at this point, and now it's 3-1.
And Effortless is looking solid so far. Dooi's struggling. I mean, the way in which Effortless is playing means that Dooi hasn't got the real capability to punish any item pickups. Effortless making sure he's bullying Dooi as much as he can. So far, the strong pick is looking good.
No, it's looking absolutely fantastic for him at this point. Already leading by 3 frags, literally just playing off the audio cues as well, as he peers through the wall to try and get a clearer bit of an idea of where exactly Dooi is. Going for the swings around the corner as well. The slough, the slide? The slough, hit him with the slough, mate. Slide crouch round the corner to take the peak with the rail. That's looking very, very good from him.
Dooi has managed, finally Dooi gets himself on the map. Bullies his way onto the Mega early. Effortless doesn't take damage, but he's strong enough to push Dooi back as he comes flying through that teleporter, and the shotgun to the face is always going to end your life. Effortless is looking good, Jackie.
No, he is. He's actually hitting a lot of shots. Movement looks fantastic. Good early game momentum. It's also, obviously, a map like Awoken kind of makes it a bit harder for Dooi to play the playstyle that he likes playing because it's so much smaller. You can just engage over and over again.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we said in the pre-game, is that it isn't going to be your typical Dooi game because they're not typical Dooi maps. And he is struggling a little bit to keep up with the tempo that Effortless is putting on, but he has an opportunity here to get back into the game. If he hits one more rail, but he's not able to do that because he is weak himself. Tries just to back off. Well, there's some really tasty rails, though. Such a long time before any major item. What's he going to do with that space he's made?
Oh, absolutely slaughter him, it seems. Beautiful tax coming back out. Does leave him just trying to run away for his life at this point. The rotation comes back in. Dooi is hungry for a mega health, and he's gambling with his life to be able to get it. Forces Effortless back off as he'll be having to rotate out of there, head over towards LG room and play with a bit of distance. Dooi finally gets another major item to pick up, and now we're back into a pretty good position for the rest of the game. Obviously, time's ticking away as well, though, so Dooi has to do more out of this. It's no good if he just gets items. He needs to start getting kills down. Those are the commodity.
Exactly, and as you say, like, he did need to force his way onto there. He did take a huge amount of damage in doing so. Now the issue is, can he track down Effortless? Because what Effortless is doing particularly well is making sure he's getting that speed to make angles that Dooi's not able to respond to. Effortless is always getting the initiating damage, particularly the longer range rails, and that's giving him these good openings to keep pressure on Dooi.
There was so many things that just went wrong with that, and it ends with Dooi getting an uppercut off onto Effortless.
That's the first uppercut frag we've seen in months.
Hey.
Or at least I have.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I've seen one.
Because normally it just tickles you.
Quite, that is actually quite a relatively unknown fact about Dooi, actually, is he is actually a champion at chess boxing, Dan. He won 2 titles back in college.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, chess boxing. You play 1 round of chess, and then you play a round of boxing. So basically, obviously, your options are you can either be good at chess or good at boxing. But that is an actual sport. Look up the chess boxing championships, mate. It's just a genuine thing. So obviously, the strategy is, obviously, you can either have a big brain or you can just have muscles, somewhat like you.
Or both, you know.
You never know. You never know. Oh, right now the brawn's on display for Effortless, though, and he is slaying as well, as that Pico will punish Dooi. Took his kneecaps right out, mate.
And he's done an exceptional job this game. I think any victory against Dooi is always hard fought, and Effortless has done exactly what he needed to do. He kept Dooi at bay, he didn't fall into any traps. He actually kept out the middle ground quite a lot of this game because that's the preference patrolling area of the Dooi, and just wanted to engage Dooi at this range game, and he did it very, very well.
He has done. He's controlled the pace of the game. The tempo's been on point. Tracing's looking good as well here with the LG towards the end, and really this one is towards the end. It's a 10-2 scoreline. Effortless is still hitting some crisp shots, but it's just a matter of time until this one is shut down. There's nowhere near enough for Dooi to try and get himself back into the game.
No, not at all. It should fill Effortless with confidence after, obviously, last time they met, though he did walk away with a 2-1 victory. Very close affair on both sides. And there's another map coming up that plays in a similar tempo to this in Corrupted Keep. That's definitely a bit more of Dewey's home turf. I think he used to favour it as his home pick a long time ago. And so we should see more comfort coming out from him. But nevertheless, it is still a map that is small and can be played in a similar fashion. So Effortless should go into that with a degree of confidence.
Yeah, he should indeed. I mean, hopefully he just maintains some of the aggression and the skill that we saw there on that first map. He's been looking better and better week in, week out throughout the course of the league and coming into finals now. That's a great display to show that he's not going to allow Dooi to play his play style, because Dooi is at his best when you can't stop him, right? But he's got to get into that position. You come out swinging, if we put the ring out aside. Other than that, he basically had control the whole way through.
No, exactly. I was going to say that same thing. Ever since that second-minute frag where he evened up the match, Dooi didn't have a look in. And again, it wasn't Dooi playing particularly bad. Dooi was still doing his normal play style, but Effortless was just hitting so many shots and using that speed advantage, as we said, to manufacture positions to exploit Dewey's lack of mobility and Dewey's position. So it was just a good performance all round.
It certainly was. Still, hopefully more room for Dooi to try and get back into the series, though, as we move into our second map, Corrupted Keep. Obviously, we take that railgun out of commission, and we switch up the champions a little bit as well. Dooi will be on Galena, and we've got Ranger for Effortless down.
I think the point about the no railgun is a big one, because we literally just talked the entire time about how much of a valuable tool that was for Effortless, 50%, and again, that was predominantly what he used the entire time. So he will definitely obviously need to rethink his tact on that, and he doesn't also have the speed advantage. So much more even affair overall, which should lead to a much more even scoreline.
It's also a bit of a double-edged sword, because as much as this is also the railgun being taken away from Effortless, Corrupted Keep is also a map that I think in the past we've always seen Dooi play pretty well on. And he's got a champion that is beneficial on that map as well. Galena can be quite annoying on Corrupted Keep. There's also still quite a few totem placement spots that are in play on that map.
Yeah, no, and Galena can be very, very annoying. Dooi uses her particularly well, and it is slightly more of a slower pace game, or you can slow it down a bit more. So I think that it will obviously favour Dooi a fair amount, and I do expect Dooi to come back into it.
Oh, you do you?
I do.
Oh. Well, I do indeed also believe that Dooi could do this, Dan, as we get into corrupted keep.
Awesome, Jackie, sir.
Love it. Can't wait. This one is going to be absolutely maximum effort from Effortless, I would assume, as he's going to realise the odds are stacked against him going into this second map. Obviously, he does have a one-map advantage, though, so it's not all doom and gloom. He's not going to be worrying, but he does need to still perform well. For Dooi, it's a matter of can he come back into it now being more on his home territory.
Exactly, the pressure's definitely on. I think Effortless will feel a bit of a weight lifted from him, but it's not over till it's over, so let's see what Dooi can change in terms of his progression from last game.
Oh, well, after all that blood being spelt by Effortless, it looks very, very reminiscent of Morning Dew as Dooi is killed. The Effortless continues on, rocket launcher out, takes a ton of damage. Dooi is committing to try and find himself this frag, but he can't quite secure it. Unless Effortless just goes back in swinging. All right, he gets the kill anyway. This is madness.
Yeah, that's a fast-paced start. 2-0, 30 seconds in, 3-0. A frag every 10 seconds. But keep this up, Jackie, we'll have 600 frags.
Wow. That's a lot of frags. I mean, it's also the fact, right, that we were like, oh, corrupted keep. I was going to say, that math doesn't seem right, but I don't know. I'm not an engineer, Dan. I don't know about that.
The boxing and chess box.
See, I said it was always your brawn that was your tactical edge, you see. Never one for the timings or getting out of groups.
Let's just edit the VOD, please.
Delete that. Take it down. Allegedly. 600. Allegedly.
3-1. Dooi has got back onto the board as we fix my quick maths.
Calm down, Big Shaq. Right now, Effortless being the big man on the scene, though. He's doing all the damage. He's absolutely living it large. Dooi's finally come back into fruition, getting one frag. But it is quite crazy, right? Because we're like, oh, Corrupted Keep, completely different style of play compared to what we've initially seen on Awoken. It should be much slower. It shouldn't be anywhere near as aggressive. Effortless threw that out the window. Now Dooi's trying to play aggressive as well, as he's got to try and claw this one back early on. We're only about 2 minutes in. We're not even quite there yet. Heavy's going to go the way of Dooi. His stack's beginning to build. He'll have that second totem up soon if he wants to drop it as well. But he's running low on ammo. So getting into this fight probably isn't worth the risk.
No, and the stacks are still pretty even. He's got good position over above the Mega and a nice splits on the two items. Good play from Effortless to do the chip damage, but Dooi obviously restacking with that totem is why Galena can be so powerful. But Effortless just bullies his way in and Dooi relents and retreats.
Oh, he's just... Oh, hang on a minute. He's got away. What on earth? How are they both alive, Dan? This is like a game of conkers.
Oh, that rocket was so close, and Effortless does take the jump pad.
All right. It's a death match right now. There is literally just no regard for their own safety being taken into these fights. Every time off the spawn, they are just charging back in to try and battle once again. Effortless has got the LG out. Oh, straight behind you. He tries to catch him off guard. Rocket to the face will certainly blow his guard away. And Effortless is moving with high octane speed as well. Launches himself back up, waiting for the bounce pad bait. But Dooi doesn't fancy his chances.
No, and the speed is something I think favourless Effortless. We saw him last game playing in tempo. He kept that up. Obviously, we have discussed how Dooi is versatile, and we've seen this type of game come out from Dooi, but it doesn't feel like it's his natural habitat. Whereas Effortless definitely looks at home playing in such tempo, playing with the chaos. As soon as Dooi has it on lockdown, that's where Effortless struggles, but Dooi cannot even get a foothold, let alone even think about locking down the map.
Effortless already building himself quite a large lead. If he can maintain this, he'll certainly be sitting pretty throughout the course of this game. We're coming up towards 4 minutes, and he's trying to slaughter Dooi once more. Saw a bit of leg, went in to drag him a bit of how's your father, but realised it's probably worth playing the safe game down. Back off, get the heavy.
Absolutely.
Oh, no.
He has taken a couple of big shotguns, but Dooi still goes down.
Dooi's been done.
Yeah, he looks a little bit lost, actually. Although that's a lot of damage.
Flex tape on that.
That's a fairly big mistake. Effortless getting big, really trying to take on that spawn frag and instead pushing Dooi onto the Mega and himself potentially to his doom. He's very low. There's nothing up for him at the moment as Dooi can push in and does get the kill. He's back on the board.
Okay, 6-3. Not too long until we hit 5 minutes. Effortless. Lurking around, rocket launcher on parade. He needs to realise there's a totem around the corner, but what he does is because it detonates in his face, and Dooi comes through with the LG to hit him with a slice of life as well. Only 2 frags between the both of them now, so the gap is starting to be bridged second by second. And Dewey's looking a lot more like his old self.
Yeah, we can see now he's just managing the 2 items, bouncing between the 2. Effortless needs to find a response. This is a good start, playing the range game. Look how much damage he's done. Dewey's so early. And Effortless using the orb to skirt in and steal away the item. Can't even push in for the kill. Dewey's aim is good, but not good enough. Look at that play from Effortless to come back out of nothing. Really, he didn't even have a weapon when he pushed in for that for that Mega. Pure confidence.
Hearing the pitter-patter of Dooi as he spams out those bullets from HMG, basically just ringing the dinner bell to try and bring a fight towards him. Effortless, lurking around corners and taking a slower approach to the game. Spots him by the statue, but he can't chisel his way through him. Instead is forced to fall back and play towards the archway. Drops down with the shotgun in hand. He was getting dangerously close to setting a path straight into his own demise if he went towards the totem, but luckily he recalculates.
Yeah, and at the moment, Effortless is just looking spot on in terms of his movement, his control of the map, and his defensive play. You can see him just using the audio cues to skirt around the map. He's dealing a lot of chip damage relative to Dooi. Dewey's finding it difficult to lock down his opponent.
Rocket, added back up. Effortless takes way more damage than he expected, really taking the brunt of that encounter. Shotgun on parade, but it's just a small tickle rather than a full-blown gash that comes out of the back of it. And he's rotating off now, down. Up the bounce pad, back over towards the heavy. Spots him on the way in, tries to evade the rockets. He's doing a good job of dancing around the explosives, but as soon as he gets up close and personal, Dooi will leave a mark right in him. Look at the tracing on that snap as well. This is so precise. The response from Dooi there is dominant.
I was about to say that last frag was kind of a key turning point. Dooi got a very clean frag, picked up both major items, and now Effortless really is struggling. He needs to try and do damage control as soon as possible, otherwise his match is going to spiral out of control. Dewey's got a good lockdown on the items. He's just caught the tempo. Effortless needs to do something.
He's completely switching up his game here. Looking a lot more aggressive with the level of killer instinct that he's bringing through to play with. Working our way up towards 8 minutes as well. Up the bounce pad, we see the push coming in. Dewey taking a lot more damage than I think he initially bargained for. His aim is still looking impeccable. Mechanically, his shots are ridiculously sound. Game's still tied.
Yeah, that was a great play by Effortless to bully his way across to heavy. Recognizing Dooi was out of position, dealt a decent amount of range damage, and just ran across to steal it away. That does even it up quite a lot, but this is painful as he doesn't have the white weapon out. Dooi catching him off guard himself. Now Dewey's just got to defend the lead for 2 minutes, and there's no reason why he needs to relent on the tempo as well. He can keep up this pressure, and that's exactly what he wants to do if he wants to finish this game off.
Stopwatch.
Got the advantage here. He could completely push this one into a third map if he can just maintain. That's all he's got to do. He doesn't need to excel any more than this. He's just got to play the game that he plays best when he slows down the tempo, grinds that pace to a halt, and plays defensively. He's good at turtling. Let's see if he can do that right now, as actually he's playing with the confidence to further push himself into the lead. He nets himself another frag down, taking Effortless down with a rocket.
Yeah, there's zero reason why he should be relenting as well, when he's got such a clean stack and his opponent's got nothing. He understands the odds are firmly in his favour. Playing that defensively is not always the best thing. So keep up the initiative as much as you can within the remit that's safe. Like now, for instance, just drop down and play safe. Back off if you know your opponent's coming in. Perfect rocket. Keep the high ground, deal that range damage. No reason to now go in for that major item.
The one that's got to go in is Effortless. Within 30 seconds, you basically leave yourself with not much of a chance of winning this even from this point. He would have to frag here and now. Dire Orb's in for the aggression. Dooi starting to rotate off and run. Wants to bait him in close towards the totem as well, but he won't even need to. And that's the GG called from the both of them. They realise it's over.
Yeah, really well played by Dooi. Felt that the map was spiraling a little bit out of control after the first 3 or 4 minutes as Effortless was dictating that tempo. And Dooi really wasn't responding particularly well, but as soon as he wrangled control for the last 3 or 4 minutes, he did an exceptional job of flicking a switch and making sure he kept pressure up on Effortless.
Yeah, it was a complete change of tempo, change of pace. I think Dooi moved away from that slow start that we've been seeing for the most part, was looking a whole lot more like he just wanted to take those fights. And the damage just started raining through. It was good to see the aggressive Galena worked out well on keep.
It really did. We know Dooi plays a good Galena anyway. He didn't, obviously, the totems didn't play a massive role. I think I saw the overstack once.
Yeah.
So it was just, again, Dooi just playing the map particularly well for the last couple of minutes. He kept the scoreline close in spite of being under the cosh for quite a lot of it as well, which was impressive.
It was quite a close affair. Gave us a nice mashup. It also means it's going to give us a grand series as well. Being a best of 3, we will be taking this to our third and final map, the decider between both of these boys. Both playing very well as well. It's good to see how well Effortless was performing at the start of the series and into the mid-portion of this game. And Dooi, he looked revitalized. If he can keep that up going into Blood Covenant, maybe there's a chance. In terms of the champions though, Dan, Effortless has secured a Sorlag, and we're seeing Dooi come forward on the Nyx.
Yeah, this is where I expect more of a defensive play coming out from Dooi. Obviously, Effortless with the stack advantage will want to try and use that and bully his opponent, but Dooi does have the slight advantage in maneuverability to get across and control the mid-ground, as well as just the plain old ghost walk for defensive and, if he wants to, offensive options.
I mean, the mobility's there. Like, in terms of the kit, right, obviously, as you're saying, he can definitely try and use it to go in aggro. We've seen a few aggressive ghost walks over the course of this tournament already, but you can use it to dip out. Sorlag, as a whole, is just innately aggressive. She's so quick, she's so strong in some of the encounters she can get into. It's rough. Talking of rough as well, here are the stats. It was a rough ride for Effortless because Dooi was performing very well. 47% LG, that's pretty good. He was actually very precise. Like, his tracing was certainly the one thing I was taking away as a big point in this, rather than what we saw on the opener. He looked way more accurate throughout the course of it, especially with that LG.
Yeah, definitely got warmed up. He was using it smarter, and that's because he was the one taking initiative. I felt it's always more difficult when you're under the cosh to use your weaponry on the defense, and so as soon as he took control, we got to see the prowess that is his aim. He doesn't look like the most natural aimer a lot of the time, but he hits a hell of a lot.
He can. He hits like a truck or a woodpecker trying to make a hole in a tree. Over and over again. It's consistent, Dan.
Consistent, but it hits the spot.
That's what it's all about. That's one of the traits you look for in life. But here we go then, Blood Covenant being our decider. It seems like we are ready to get underway with this one. But who is going to be spilling the blood that matters most on this map, Daniel?
I mean, I imagine it's going to go right to the wire. We've seen that before between these two. The rail's going to be the key weapon again for me. Effortless has already been smacking his opponent down on map 1 with the rail. If he can do that again, I definitely think he'll walk away with it, but I don't imagine it's going to be an easy ride.
Right, well, all aboard the night bus. It's going to be a bumpy ride, so hold on, Ernie, as we slide into this one. I'm excited, Dan.
I like the reference.
Oh, it's good, right?
Yeah, I like the reference.
Thought I'd slide that one in here for you. See who's got the Marauders back on this one, Dan, if they're going to be managing their mischief.
You're a fan.
I'm a bit of a... God, what's the word? It's like if you like Star Wars, you're a Trekkie. What are you if you like Harry Potter? A wizard? Yeah, like, I don't know, man. I'm a bit of a wizard myself. That's why I'm a bit
of a wizard, are you?
Yeah, I can be. Oh, that's pretty wizard. That was some nice connection with the LG. Good way to open up the game from Dooi.
Yeah, good start. He's the one in position with the weapons, forcing Sorlag onto the lower ground. This is what you want to be doing as the next, is making sure you do control that bridge and high ground area. You can obviously use the double jump to get across and get away from your opponent, so it's definitely the safest position to be in. But the speed of Sorlag is always something to be slightly wary of.
Well, she's just so damn fast.
Yeah.
That puts you into a position where obviously she can evade, she can initiate a lot more aggressively, and for Dooi, I think we're going to be seeing an awful lot of this slower style of gameplay, trying to set up traps more, and then just probably using that Ghost Walk a lot more passively to escape rather than to initiate. I wouldn't expect him to really be going overly aggressive with it.
No, not at all. Like we said, don't expect Dooi to be playing particularly aggressive all of this game, actually, to be fair.
I mean, that's a prime example of it, right? Literally the bait and switch on that one. Had an opportunity to maybe do some chip damage instead, just literally waits to evade and reposition.
But that's what he needs to do. Like, you don't want to engage Sorlag. Her stack is huge. So you need to be trying to whittle it around at range and using your maneuverability to manufacture the best opportunities possible from distance, because you just don't want to get into close combat fights. So play the choke points, play the range game, and use audio cues. So this is traditional Dooi for me. Oh, he drops just at the last second. He's forced to pop the Ghost Walk, but Effortless knows he's got up the jump pad. He has nowhere real to go. Dooi's going to have a struggle to get out of here without taking much more damage. But Effortless decides not to commit too strongly at this stage. Definitely feel he could have. Definitely feel he had a good opportunity there to put more pressure onto Dooi.
I mean, yeah, and it's also just ended with Effortless securing the frag in the end anyway.
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
Like, I don't know, it's very weird. It seemed like it was quite a delayed push, then he went for it and just sort of committed when it was less opportune. Ooh, that was disgusting. The speed of that rail was absolutely ridiculous. Beautiful shot coming through from Effortless. Grade A for his aiming capabilities at the minute.
And this is what I said, if he can keep the same level of rail that we saw in the first series, it's going to be hard life for Dooi.
Effortless will bag himself a free mega. Starting to roam around a bit as well, taking tags from above as Dooi fires off the warning shot. A little bit of damage back onto him. He's only got 4 rockets to work with. He's building up momentum, as you love to see it. Starts to get that speed in, lands just before the lip of the rail. Fires out the shot from underneath, but he doesn't want to overcommit. Instead, he'll back off, reposition, play from the high ground.
And at the moment, Effortless is the one taking up the better positions, so Dooi needs to definitely work more effectively on the high ground. It's going to be such a hard task to try and get any sort of really effective damage working on the low ground. But that is one way to do it.
Oh, the midi!
Oh!
That was so crisp. Really crisp. Really quick as well. Beautiful from Effortless. Rocket jumping his way back across. He's going to thrust himself over towards the heavy. Damage starting to come out, and you can see the speed starting to build as well. The pace is definitely taking a bit more of a turn as his BPM will start to go up. Makes his move back over towards Mega. Fires the rocket down. The splash damage will connect. He's prepared for Dooi to do something, but Dooi Ghost Walks straight up. He wants a Mega. It wasn't even the Ghost Walk. She just sprinted his way away.
Yeah, the Ghost Walk wasn't up yet. I don't think Effortless realised that otherwise, because I think he probably would have committed slightly harder. But the Ghost Walk was up. Or did he just pop it as he died?
As he died. I think he...
Oh,
yeah.
The spit killed him, I guess, maybe.
Could have been the damage over time, but I guess that carried through. Either that or he's just been straight interp and he's raging on the inside.
I mean, that's the worst way. He managed to get quite a lot of vials, so it's already back up. But it's, I guess, a little bit greedy to wait that long.
I bring him in spit as well. Straight back to business as he wants to try and burn through his stack with the initial damage over time. Effortless does still lead, but it's only 1 frag. There hasn't been too much commotion, just close calls. that was another one as well. Dooi wins the fight, but he was left on about 50 stack total. Effortless tried to turn on him, but now we are barely bridged. No one has the lead. From this point forward, the final 4 minutes are going to be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I enjoy the way Effortless is playing, but at the same time, it's in some situations he's taking unnecessary combat, like how he just died. He could have just slightly retracted on his speed.
Oh!
No way!
That's sick! My goodness, Dan, he's just absolutely wrecked him.
He's also wrecked himself as he walks away with his tail between his legs and 9 health to work with. That's a great rail to offset the aggression from Dooi coming out. And in spite of the 3-2 scoreline, this has been an action-packed Blood Covenant so far.
Mate, honestly, after that one, I just want to congratulate Effortless on his house move, because he's now living in Dewey's head rent-free. Like, that's absolutely mad. As if he's been able to pull that off. What a frag to find as well. 3-2 split, 7 minutes deep into this one. This game is the last map in the series as well, so there's a whole lot more fight left in both of these men. They're really going to have to put it all on the line as they'll know how much it's worth. Here comes the combat as Dooi gets dropped up. Effortless launches himself back over towards the heavy, snatches it. He's waiting for the rail flick. He'll find it, and he's now 2 frags up.
Yeah, I just want to see now Effortless calm the pace down a bit. Like, as I say that, he rocket jumps into a tri-bolt. There's no reason to be caught up into the tempo of the game. You need to control it, get a higher ground position, get a stack. You don't need to continue pressuring as much as you were. You've got a solid lead.
Effortless low and broken. Eventually gets taken down as Dooi will just brute force his way back into the game.
Slightly out of position. Effortless really should have been on the high ground. They're up on the bridge. It's not safe on the mid ground, and Dooi really makes that pain. He's missed the rocket. Oh, that was close. But Dooi, as we can see, one small mistake from Effortless, it's already tied up.
And this is scary now. Oh, the turn! Effortless! Some of the frags he's finding are just absolutely wild. I don't know how he's being able to get these. It's like he loves the hard ones and hates the easy ones. He will only find the frags that he has to give full effort for. At this point, he's finally back in the lead as well. This game has been up and down consistently. He's pepper spraying Dooi from a distance as well and keeping him low. Going to get the acid spit dropped onto him. He is low on health, but he's still trying to get the shots off. He's just firing off warning blows with the shotty.
Yeah, he's just trying to bully Dooi. Like, he wants to keep the tempo up because you don't want to let an X settle, and especially if the Ghost Walk's not up, or you want to force the Ghost Walk out, you need to keep pressure on her. But at the same time, as I said, it is also costing him frags and costing him his life. So it's about tempering that and managing it. Once again, he's popped the Ghost Walk out, so this is a good time to reposition and reset. Get the items, and then go on the advance. But without knowing where Dooi is, he's a little bit more hesitant, which is good.
Ooh, Spit comes back through. The rocket is out, looking for damage. Effortless. So low, leaves Dooi in essentially the same position, but he retreats, realizing that if he just stays alive, that would be all it took to win the series. So he doesn't want to overcommit. He just needs to start building that stack back up. There's another 8 seconds until Heavy is in commission. Meanwhile, Dewey's already been able to snatch himself the Mega. He arrives on the scene as well, turns the corner, puts the pressure on, and keeps the game close. If he found the frag here, he could steal the Heavy and be in a dream position, Dan. Effortless has to give it up. He can't run the risk of going for it, but it won't even matter. Dooi doesn't want it. Dooi just wants the kill. Drops down, secures overtime.
God. Effortless has made this so difficult for himself. There's no reason he's needed to be in this position, but Dewey's done such a great job to keep in the game. And Effortless has to do it all over again if he's going to win this.
Well, here we go. Sudden death is all that matters. Jumps up, taking it aggressive. Effortless, he's so low.
Why?
Dooi gets the shot off. That's all that matters. He just went straight in. Dan, he's thrown it away.
I mean, there's no other way to explain it. He's thrown it away. Like, every time he had such a solid lead and a good stack, all he had to do was slow the pace down and play a bit more methodical. And he just wanted to aggress. And all credit to Dooi for responding in kind and dealing an immense amount of damage, but Effortless kind of gave it on a plate. And it's so unfortunate because he's played, for me, he played the better Quake all series, and I felt he deserved to win, but Dooi does what Dooi does. He's walked away once again with a victory.
Dastardly Dooi, the Wild West Ranger, walks out on top as he cracks the whip in the end of that one. It is rough, because I completely agree with you. I do feel like Effortless was showing full effort the entire time, was absolutely giving it throughout the course of the game. He looked on point. But no, it doesn't matter. Dooi really was just grinding that one back. Ryan, Flea, obviously from watching it on the sidelines, was there anything that really stuck out to you that showed why it went this way?
I mean, there were definitely a few interesting things to note in this matchup. I feel that, especially at the beginning, both players were going hyper aggressively. Very unexpected from a player like Dooi, who, as we discussed before getting into this, tends to play it a lot more passively than many of the other players in the league. I'm extremely surprised that we saw a Blood Covenant with Dooi playing Nyx, where there was more than one frag to be had the entire game. So I think that's already some sort of a stream achievement, but overall, Effortless, he felt like he kind of buckled under the pressure towards the end. He played a very collected game for a significant amount of time, but then at the end it felt like some of those misplays really started getting to him. He's also one of the more vocal, kind of emotional players. He will type in chat when something doesn't really go his way, such as that insane comment at the very end. And then afterwards, like Dan said, he really shouldn't have been there for that final engagement, and it ended up costing him big time.
But on the flip side of that, Dooi is absolutely a passionate player himself, and Dewey's one of those players that you know will pop off in like an offline setting or at an event, especially after a map like that. It's a little bit of a shame that we didn't really get to see Dewey's reaction to the end of that series, because I guarantee he wooed his house down. He played... Ultimately, when that kind of thing happens, it's extreme high versus extreme low, isn't it? Like, we know that Effortless, I guarantee he's not feeling particularly good about how that map ended, but if you're in Dewey's shoes, how much momentum he's got to be riding off that.
Oh, like hype-wise, you're absolutely right. Obviously, like, coming from the FGC yourself, Ryan, you can imagine, I hope we would have seen an absolute pop-off and he would have been living it up, because surely
I guarantee
he's got to be fueled, right? He probably would, yeah.
If you're an emotional and passionate player, it's very much kind of like, even in this replay, we see some of these insane frags, like the Gauntlet fresh off the Ghost Walk for Nyx. Like, there were the fair share of insane moments. But yeah, my point is that Dewey's an emotional guy as well, and I'm sure, like, off a map like that, he is going to be feeling a ton of momentum. It's just the extreme side of that means Effortless, he really has no choice but to try and just shake that off now, because what's done is done. There's no way to change it, so... Just he can't let it affect him for the rest of it.
Much as we said, like, Effortless kind of threw it away in some aspects. Like I said, it's all credit to Dooi for A, sticking in it, and B, hitting the relevant shots. Like, it's not easy, particularly on Blood Covenant, where you have a fully stacked Sorlag running at you when you're a Nyx with very little to work with. Dooi had to do some exceptional and insane things to keep in that game, and he did it. Just feels like Effortless is a little bit like a diamond in the rough, where it's so close to being great player, but also it's just a little bit scuffed, and it just needs a bit of a polish, and then suddenly it's gonna show its true worth.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dooi, props to him, because this definitely wasn't Effortless throwing anything away. Dooi had to work for it big time after losing the first map, and then coming into Corrupted Keep, Effortless just came out swinging. Very aggressive, constantly sticking it to Dooi, and I think that more than a few people in chat had already been typing GG when we were only halfway through Corrupted Keep, figuring that, well, Effortless is just gonna run away with this like he did in map 1, but Dooi just played an extremely strong defensive game and brought it all the way back, so props to him, a very well-deserved victory.